Welcome in to Rover Sports. It is Monday evening. I hope that you guys can hear me. I hope that there's not that much of an echo going on with the feed. I'm going to turn up my volume loud for 1 second. Hope that there's not that much of an echo going on with the There might be an echo, and I don't really, frankly, know how to fix it because I don't really have any expertise. That's the same thing. Hey, Troy, how are you? Ronaldo, how are you? Getting a phone call. It's 205 number calling in. Let's go ahead and answer it. Hello.
Hey, Rover Sports, small ball.
Hey, Garrett. Garrett, thanks for calling. You were one of the first callers of the night.
Absolutely. Happy to be on.
Yeah, Garrett. I also got to get you. I got to get you on my. I got to get you on my show to do like a Zoom session. Sometime.
Absolutely, that'd be great.
This is Small Vol, the YouTuber, is very popular. A good friend, actually. And you, of course, can promote your show, do whatever you'd like. But Garrett, we pretty much have open season to talk about whatever you'd like. So go ahead, sir.
Well, let me start out with saying that I really enjoy your channel, Rover Sports. You make really great content, and if you haven't subscribed to Rover Sports, do it now, because this guy right here makes quality sports content, and he's on a roll, and he's gonna prove why he can be the best in YouTube as far as sports content is concerned. So, Spencer, just keep up the good work, man, and I tell you, you're gonna be a rising star in the YouTube community, and we really appreciate the content that you do.
Wait, Garrett.
But anyway,
Garrett,
yes, sir.
Let's talk Titans, Garrett. I want to talk.
Yeah, let's talk about the Titans, man.
So, Garrett.
Yes.
Please tell me how you felt going into the game yesterday at Buffalo and then after the game yesterday.
Man, honestly, heading into this game, I felt that we had no reason to lose this game. You know, coming off a win against on the road at Jacksonville, granted we didn't have a great offensive performance, but our man, Marcus Mariota, came out of injury, didn't start the game, played well, get enough to get the job to win, and then the very next week, he comes and dominates the Eagles. Granted, the Eagles secondary isn't that great, but this is a defending World Super Bowl championship team that came into Nashville. The Titans came and took care of business. They were down 17-3, and they came back and had 23 unanswered points to win the game. And it's unbelievable. And it was just absolute chaos in Nashville. I never seen Nashville so hyped over the Titans. And normally you would think Nashville as a hockey team with the Predators, as a hockey town. But after that Eagles win, you know, it was all Titans. And, you know, the Titans were, they didn't get much respect after this Eagles win. And that's when Taylor Lewan decided to open his mouth and say that the Titans deserve to be respected. And it ended up costing them. And I even opened up my mouth. I'm not going to lie. I said on my radio show at 91.9 WLJS at Jacksonville State University on the Gridiron Review, wherever ground comes to you, we're on Fridays, every Friday night at 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Saturday morning. But anyway, I said on my radio show that the Titans deserve respect and that the national media was wrong about the Titans. And boy, I was so confident about the Titans beating Buffalo. I I wasn't worried about it, to be honest with you, Spencer.
Yeah. Neither was I. I mean,
I know.
Going to. I mean, that's a routine game, and if you're going to take the next step as an NFL franchise, you can't be losing there. You can't score 12 points. You got
to score in the red zone.
You just cannot do that. And my Google Chrome now is crashed.
I think it's time for the Titans to call Dez Bryant. If I'm John Robinson, I'm saying let's call Dez Bryant because Darius Jennings and Nick Williams are not the pieces that Marcus Mariota needs. And you know what else I would say? I would say, hell, trade for Le'Veon Bell. Whatever we have to do to get Marcus Mariota the running game that we need, because obviously Derrick Henry has been non-existent the entire year. I'm saying that we need to trade for Le'Veon Bell and get this guy to Nashville.
Yes.
It's the only way that we can save our season and be contenders of the AFC, and that's the only way that I can see us being back to contenders, because with this offense, we're not good enough to win anything but get past the wild card or the divisional round. I don't see us making it to the AFC Championship game.
I like the Titans almost making a move like that. Garrett, we have to run. Thank you so much for the call. That is small ball right there. Yes, hello. Welcome into Rover Sports.
Hello?
Yes, you're live on Rover Sports. How are you?
How you doing, man? This is Alfred from New Jersey.
Yes. What is your name?
Alfred.
Alfred, welcome in the Rover, man. What's on your agenda? How are you?
I'm all right, man. I want to talk Giants football.
Perfect.
I want to talk about the offense in particular. I feel like they're using their weapons not to the full capability. I wonder where with Odell, I think he could be used like in the same mode as Tyreek Hill. And like I don't see him doing too much jet sweeps or orbit motions, or it's like the defense can pretty much tell that Eli is just going to drop back or we're going to run Saquon up the middle.
Right.
Like similar to how the Eagles use Nick Foles with the RPOs. You got to give a reason for this defense to freeze.
So you would do some RPO action with well, you can't really do that with Eli Manning, but with Tyreek Hill, you mean like you start putting?
You said you can't do RPOs with. You sure you can? Just like with Nick Foles. I'm not talking about read option. I'm talking about the RPOs.
You'd put Odell in the backfield and like flip it to him, do some jet sweeps, like with Mahomes attack. I mean, how did you like the game plan yesterday?
See, now they did more. That's why I feel they were more effective. It's like it's like Odell caused them to sit around and talk about each personnel groups, and they discussed that the talent they have is not being used to the best ability. I really feel like they had that conversation, because it seems like, with the Odell pass to Saquon, I just seen a bunch of different things that had the defense like, okay, what's coming next? That's what we have to cause defenses to do, because Eli just dropping back, I don't think he could do that the same as in his career, and the O-line isn't built for that. So we have to give defenses other things to look at and reasons to freeze. Because they just could tell and pin their ears back that either Eli's going to drop back and pass or Saquon's going to run up the middle. And that's, you're making defensive coordinators' lives easy. The Giants are good for the past couple seasons for making every defense they play look like the '85 Bears.
Right.
And that's because they all could pin their earbacks and just attack Eli or whatever running back.
I kind of get what you're saying. I mean, with the offensive line, it's hard to protect like on the edges. If we're trying to run the ball along the edges, I like that we took some deep shots in the game yesterday. But what you're really getting at is when you look at the Eagles' offense, or even Sean McVay and the Rams, it's up tempo kind of offense. What do you think about like going up tempo and going fast in some spots?
That would be beautiful. Once again, it's causing them. You're causing different things than them just pinning their airbags. I would love up tempo, giving them something to look at, motions, moving fast. Yes, it's just so simple. Defenses. I used to play football. It's just you can tell one of three things are coming each down. that's not good.
Yeah, you look at like Oklahoma's like my favorite college offense to watch, and there's so many fast guys on the field right now, and the NFL is really going in the direction of, you know, having guys like that are just twitchy athletes. Like you don't need big you know, receivers anymore. Like you just need really fast guys along the edge. And but
you need to label like the college game uses athlete.
I was having this conversation yesterday with people, and it's actually an argument. How would you assess Eli's play yesterday?
How would I assess it?
Yeah, do you think it was a very good performance? Do you think that it was lackluster with the turnovers? How would you say he played yesterday?
I think whoever was calling plays, Shermer or offense coordinator, his mind escapes me, Mike Shula.
Yeah.
Whoever was calling plays, they really, like I said, the whole team assessed everybody perfectly for the way that offense ran. Because it's like they really took a good look at Eli. I was like, let's just put him at his strengths. So to me, I saw a bunch of play action. I seen quick passes. I think the turnovers that he made were like things that he can correct. Like he didn't throw it enough to the sideline on the Shepard interception, and then that slant. The defense kind of knew what was coming, and he got excited because pressure was in his face. I think Eli just needs to calm down when he sees pressure. But I mean, that's always been him. He's up and down. Like if he gets into a good rhythm, Eli could turn into a great quarterback. But if you can pretty much tell by his face what kind of game he's gonna have. Because if he looks calm and relaxed, he's gonna go off. How he used to look in the fourth quarter prior to 2016.
Yeah.
You know, I could tell when Eli. I feel like looking at the screen and seeing Eli's face, I could tell when he's gonna have a good day.
Yeah, like it was so interesting. It did give you flashbacks, and like with Ben McAdoo, like I guess the Larry Donnell throw was the last time like Eli was clutch on the main stage, and you know, as a Giants fan, man, like I really wanted that game because then it would have cemented the comeback. But now everybody's gonna nitpick over the 2 interceptions, which again you're playing aggressive. And the one thing is that I wanted to address your offensive scheme point. Is that a lot of teams are playing us like cover 2 that you heard about, so they're dropping everybody back. And the problem with the offensive line is we have the numbers. Like they might only be rushing 4 guys and dropping linebackers in the coverage, but you know, like in the Tampa 2 coverage. But if we you know, especially yesterday's with Carolina's defensive linemen, why would teams allocate a lot of players to the run? Like, I thought Carolina did a terrible job of going one-on-one. Like, they opened up Pandora's box where if I were the Eagles, I would sit everybody in coverage, and Fletcher Cox, it doesn't matter if he has 3 offensive linemen. I don't have faith that Saquon's going to be able to get yardage in the middle of the field.
Right, that was gonna be my response. I think Barkley's plays made them do that, and because they were playing a lot of off coverage to me too. But I think between the slants and Barkley's big runs that he had, I think he had a 30 and a 20, the one where he spinned on Luke Kuechly and went outside. They didn't want to see too much of that, so they started coming up. I noticed, and that's what I noticed from defense. But yeah, the offense has to give these defenses a reason to think. Everybody can't sit back and cover. Would you say every offensive line in the NFL is real good? I don't feel like that. I think you can work around a decent offensive line.
You're absolutely right. The Panthers actually have a terrible offensive line. So I mean you make you make good points. Like there's not a lot of great offensive lines that can run it, but the solution is the solution is there. I'm actually go ahead, Bruce.
Let me make a point. First, I want to thank the caller, but the team that really has a wounded offensive line is the Philadelphia Eagles. Jason Peters is playing on one leg; he's got a sprained ankle. Stefan Wisniewski was just benched, and there's definitely some rifts in the locker room right now. And Ajayi, you know, the reason he was traded from Miami was because he was a malcontent. Ajayi's been complaining about carries. So I think you're playing the Eagles at the right time. Their defensive line only got to the quarterback once yesterday. I think both teams will be desperate, but this is a Super Bowl hangover here in Philly. So I think the Giants at home have every chance to exploit the Eagles And that's coming from an Eagles fan for 4 decades.
Wow. Could I piggyback off that point before I hang up?
Go right ahead.
Oh yeah, and
Go right ahead.
yeah, and is your name Alfred? I wish I could get your information because you're one of the best callers on Rover Sports. You know, I'm not just saying that to be nice. You're one of the best. You're knowledgeable, and you bring tremendous points to the table. I wish you can call in every time. So again,
thank you, man. I love your show. I wish I could go back and forth with you when I'm listening to you. Watch your show all the time. Thank you. But what I wanted to say about Eli throwing the 2, I think, all right, basically, similar to what you said, I think you said it on the video prior to tonight, it seems like things are set up. Like for the Eagles, we knew when they won the Super Bowl last year, the Giants were down dwindling, the Cowboys didn't have Zeke, the Redskins were in disarray, that was the worst Patriots team you ever seen in the playoffs. It just seemed like everything aligned for the Eagles to win that Super Bowl. Would you call me crazy for saying that the Giants, it's aligned for the Giants, the Redskins losing tonight and the Cowboys losing Sunday, that the Giants beat the Eagles and go on a tear, they can put themselves to win this division and hopefully get playoff Eli and send them out right? Would I be crazy for hoping that?
Man, you're
or am I just getting my hopes up too high?
You're making me smile ear to ear about that. I mean, let's just call it how it is. I mean, Eli next year is going to be Alex Smith. You know, he's going to be grooming the next guy. And the good news about the NFL now is that there's a lot of teams that have quarterbacks. So we're going to be able to get one in the first round of the draft. I mean, the way I look at the Giants is, I'm sure you've looked at the schedule. The schedule is right there for the Giants. I mean, we have Tennessee at home. We have the Colts at home. Garoppolo is out, so the 49ers game is easier. The Falcons have totally quit, and you thought that Atlanta game on Monday night would be just really impossible. The one thing that I'm going to say to you is that, you know, the media in New York is very tough. And you know that. And it's about chemistry. It's about this team not quitting. Because when you're 1-5, 1-5 teams, like the Atlanta Falcons yesterday went to Pittsburgh, and their mindset was, we're 1-3. We're a crappy football team. And I just don't want the Giants to quit. I am very worried about this Eagles game, to tell you the truth, because the Eagles are unfocused. But I think that they're more talented than the Giants in a lot of areas. I think Carson Wentz is a top-notch player. Their defensive line's still very good. And by the way, this is the thing that I think is going to set us up for a rally, and I want you to answer this question before you go. You mean they don't have Ajayi on Thursday?
No, Ajayi's out for the season now, right? They put him on injured reserve.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's out. So all they have is small running backs. Clement's hurt. They have Smallwood and what's the guy that's been killing us for years as their backup? I think he was there since he's been a backup for McCoy. Their pass catcher back.
Sproles, Darren.
Sproles, he's hurt too.
Well, here's the thing, though, that I'm going to say to you is that Cam Newton had all day. I mean, he could have taken his kids to a movie. He could have taken his kids to a picnic. I mean, he could have literally left the state of Carolina, and we'd still be trying to get it. I mean, if you ever play Madden on all Madden and you try to blitz a quarterback, I mean, that's the thing, is that the Giants, you know how we win. We win on pass rush, so that's the only missing ingredients, and I'm very excited about this team. The schedule lines up well. Eli's a winner. We have Ogletree, who's a winner. So do you think we can get a pass rush, and what's your final score prediction?
I think we get a pass rush if my high hopes are that it's a trade or something for Hassan Reddick. If not, my hope is that Olivier Vernon can come back and light a fire and be a heartbeat of that defensive pass rush or something. Mm-hmm. But other than that, then I hope they can confuse him, because I don't believe in Carson Wentz that much with those weapons going. All he really has is Alshon Jeffrey. So I don't know, man. I'm just hoping.
Yeah.
But I'm always wary of the Eagles, because it seems like, I don't know if it was Dawkins and Jeremiah Trotter and those early 2000s that shocked Eli so much, but when he sees the Eagles, he's already scared. I don't know. It would be good for one of his last years for him to beat the Eagles and then go on to the play. This would be a good win for Eli in every facet, because he needs this for the New York media. He needs this. He just needs this win Thursday.
He needs it more than anybody. Is your name Alfred again?
Yeah, my name's Alfred. Alfred.
Alfred. Yes, Alfred. You know what can you do? If you want to drop like your email maybe in the comment section like after the vid,
sure.
man, I'd love to link up and set up daily
Sure.
calls because it was a lot of fun. And thank you so much. Go Giants. Great phone call, man. Have a great night.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you taking my call.
What a great call there from Alfred, one of the most knowledgeable callers. I hope to reunite with him again. The phone lines are wide open, and we immediately have a call. So a lot is about timing. Hey, welcome into Rover Sports. How are you?
What's poppin', Rover? It's the entertainer.
It's a good buddy. Oh, man. You get nervous when you take calls. I mean, our last caller was fantastic, but, again, you never know who's going to call in, so it's great to have a common friend call into the show. How are you tonight, man? Thank you so much for calling on my show.
Oh, man. You know, I always tell you, you got one of the best channels on YouTube. You're one of the most honest YouTubers there is. I love watching your stuff. That call was terrific. I could listen to that guy talk football all day.
Exactly. I hope he leaves his email down so we can get him in a group chat. And for everybody that's calling right now, I want to say thank you. A lot of times it's going to go to voicemail. You have to match it up perfectly with like how with when the calls are over. But I appreciate all the calls and an entertainer. I think we fixed some of the echoing going on. But yeah, man. You want to talk Giants football with me a little bit on the show?
Of course I want to talk Giants football. I'm real jacked. I said in the comment section, I think I told you earlier today, and I never do this. I'm usually a very negative, not negative. I'm, a very honest Giants fan. Mm-hmm. I'm guaranteeing victory this week. I think the Giants are going to win this week by double digits. I think they're catching Philly at the right time. And I think they're really going to build off that loss this week. I really do. I liked a lot of the things I saw. Your call did bring up some good points. The pass rush has not been there. But I really, really like the Giants' chances going into this game. If you look at the stats this year, the first 4 Thursday night games, the home team has won. The home teams traditionally do much better on the Thursday night games. I think they're 22 games over 500 lifetime, something like that. I'm still getting all my stats ready for my video. But I really like the Giants' chances this week.
Yeah, I mean, I look at the game this Thursday, and I still am very afraid of the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think because they're a 13-3 team, they did win the Super Bowl. Again, their road to the Super Bowl wasn't the most challenging with Matt Ryan, Case Keenum, and the Patriots defense. But I look at Carson Wentz, and even yesterday, I went to the Eagles-Vikings game, so I could tell you kind of exactly how these Eagles have been playing. The Philadelphia Eagles, the hardest thing is after you win a championship, the hardest thing is to be focused. And the Eagles make so many mental errors. Against the Vikings, they had tons of false starts throughout the contest.
2 illegal formations.
They had
When's
2.
the last time you had that?
Yeah. And Bruce here is saying, Bruce, our Eagles guy. I mean, you look, entertainer. I'm sorry, I'm rambling a bit, but the Eagles they're undisciplined. It's more mental than physical. Like you look at their team, I still like Chris Long, Fletcher Cox, Carson Wentz is going to have all day to throw. Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, and Alshon Jeffrey. I don't think the Giants defense is going to have a lot of success. But going to the game, how are the Giants going to beat the Eagles in this ballgame?
Yeah, I think the Giants. I really truly believe this. I think the Giants are going to be able to run the football. I said this before the season started, and a lot of people laughed at me. I think the Eagles going into this year, and no disrespect to your dad, I know I love watching you guys on your videos. I know he's a huge Eagles fan. I think the Eagles were a very overrated football team going into this year. I think everything broke right for them last year. I do not think they were a true 13-3 team. They caught all the breaks with all the injuries the Giants had last year, the suspension with Zeke. They played a very easy schedule. They only beat 2 playoff teams in the regular season. And they got hot with the home field advantage in the playoffs. There's no doubt about it. They played terrific. I'm not taking anything away from them with their championship. The Giants got hot their 2 championships with Eli Manning. They were a mediocre football team in the regular season. But I do not think this is a true 13-3 team. I don't think they're world beaters. And I really think the Giants are going to build off of last week. I think they're going to be able to run the football much better. Even though they only ran for 50 yards last week, I liked what I saw because they didn't abandon the run. Barkley started with negative 5 yards rushing, and then you saw him start to open up the run a little bit later in the game, and they took the top off that defense. They really did. I love the deep throws that Eli was connected on last week, and I really think that the Giants are going to be able to put up points on this Eagles team.
We're talking here with Entertainer Sports. Again, just search Entertainer on YouTube. You will find him. He's on Nothing But Knicks. Bruce actually is going to address you head on here on Rover. He's coming by again, and you've got the attention of the doc. So go ahead, Doc. Talk to Tainer right here.
No, look, I could see as an Eagles fan, I could see you're catching him at the right time. Number one, Ajay being out, they really have a terrible balance between run and pass. The Eagles, now that they lost Frank Wright and John DeFilippo, Doug Pearson's doing some stupid things. On 3rd and 1, they're going in shotgun with an open backfield. Now, that means they're telegraphing the fact they're passing it. They've got a lot of guys like D'Angelo Carter and Gibson. They're just weak at wide receiver. They're throwing to Zach Ertz. If you cover Zach Ertz or double cover him, you're going to have success. The defensive line only got to the quarterback one time yesterday, and so that was, they're weak. So I think they're in disarray. Jalen Mills might get benched. He's getting burnt every time. Ronald Darby. I just think the Eagles are having a Super Bowl hangover. I think you do have a shot. The way the timing is with a very short week, I think does favor the Giants, and I do agree that the Giants showed, their offense. By the way, if you watched the game yesterday, the Vikings have 2 average running backs, but they gashed the Eagles 10, 15 yards. I think Saquon can have a big game, and I think the Eagles are tired. So I do think at home, if your crowd really shows up and is loud, I think that the Giants have a chance to win that game.
That's no disrespect to your Eagles. I know the Eagles are a good football team. I just think the Giants are catching them at the right time. I really do. And I think the Giants, I really think they're going to play their best game of the year this week because I love how they responded to Pat Shermer this week. I really think that this team's going to start to click. And I'm not counting the Giants out of the playoffs. I'm not. I don't care that they're 1-4. I look around their division. The Redskins are in first at 2-2. They don't impress me. Your Eagles, I think, are beatable. I don't think there's a world beater in this division, and all these teams play a brutal schedule. The Eagles still got to go to New Orleans. They still got to play the Rams in L.A. The Giants could win this. I wouldn't be shocked if an 8-8 team wins this division. I really wouldn't. Yeah,
I agree. I think this is a trap game for the Eagles. This week against the Vikings, incredible tailgating, just a lot of emotion. And I just think they might be looking past the Giants, and I don't think it's right. But I think some guys, even earlier, like a guy named Vaitai, in the preseason admitted that he's not focused. A lot of these guys are still sniffing themselves after the Super Bowl. One thing I like about Pat Shermer, I watched his news conferences. It seems like he woke up. He showed some fire. He showed some grit. Spencer and I actually...
He calls him Stale Pat and...
no, listen, if you saw his emotion, Spencer and I actually have interviewed him for, when he was with the Eagles, and he just seemed like he was half dead. But if you just watch...
Seemed like he was a walking
If you watch his post-game interviews, I think somebody kind of poked him and told him he had to show some emotion.
Or somebody gave him an energy needle and just infused it into his veins.
I think they injected him with some adrenaline because... And I think the team actually adopts the personality of the coach. So I think that's also
yeah. Pat Shermer, I mean, Entertainer, that was such a wild scene because he looks like when you watch Pat Shermer in a press conference, it looks like he's literally asleep. You can't see his eyes, you can't see he has a pulse, but he was fighting back yesterday. Talk about the press conference.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something. Yesterday, I got goosebumps watching that press conference because he became the Giants coach yesterday. He really did. Because for 32 games under Ben McAdoo never once, with all the nonsense that he pulled Beckham, he never once said anything negative about this guy. This guy was as clean as the preacher's sheet. Shermer stood up to him yesterday, and I gained a ton of respect for Shermer for that. I know a lot of your listeners on your channel, I did that video with you, and they bashed you for going after Beckham, but you were absolutely right about that. because this guy has been a cancer since he got here. And I appreciate his talent on the field, and I know for the Giants to be a contender this year, they need him. There's no doubt about it, and in the future. But if he doesn't clean up his act, this team's never going to go anywhere. And I pray to God that what Sherman did this week really wakes him up, and maybe it will. I thought he turned the corner this year when he showed up to training camp. I give him a ton of respect for that. But, you know, he reverted right back to his old ways with this interview. I don't disagree with his thoughts. He has every right to be upset that Eli Manning's not getting him the football, but there's a way to go about it. You keep that in-house. You don't go to Jacina Anderson. You don't go to the media and start bashing Eli Manning about it. That was a disgrace. And you don't do that with the New York Giants. This team is class.
Yeah, and I liked, you know, Shannon Sharp's comments. I mean, I like the, you know, Chris Carter. A lot of former players have kind of said the same thing, is that, you know, how is bashing a leader, how is bashing Eli in public going to help the team get, you know, become, you know, a better unit? And you don't see like LeBron James. He never even insulted like J.R. Smith. He could have done it. LeBron could have insulted the Cavaliers. I mean, whenever you go to the media, there's a reason that players don't really insult other teammates. And now like him taking credit for, you know, showing, you know, for the performance yesterday. I mean, here's the thing. It's like, we are like nothing what he said was false, but does it make it correct? Like if you out a teammate's sex life, like D'Angelo Russell and Nick Young situation, like you know what I mean? Does it make it right to air stuff out to the media, even if it's 100% honestly correct? Like people that are analyzing the issue are saying Odell is absolutely right, and Beckham's content was fine. It's just going to the media. And by the way, he set up the interview. You know, a lot of people also said, well, ESPN and Josina tried to hook him over. Not true at all. This was Odell's plan. This is what he wanted to do.
It was clear from that interview, and it wasn't just Eli bashing and Sherman. He was bashing Sherman too with those comments, by the way. I know he didn't use any names, but he was going after his coach and he was going after Eli. And it wasn't just that part of it that really pissed me off. It was the LA comments. He said that he basically said he'd rather go play for the LA Chargers or the LA Rams than play in New York. Well, you know what? Go play for them if you're going to talk. I want players who want to be here. I don't care how talented you are. If you're not going to be a leader and you're not going to want to play on this football team, I don't want you here.
Yes. Yep, I agree. This is Entertainer Sports. Entertainer and me are probably going to be doing a Giants preview maybe tomorrow. And Tainer, thanks so much for calling into the show, man. You're the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Spence. I always like talking football with you.
All right, guys. There probably might be a caller calling in real soon. I want to get to some of the comments. There's some great Mahomes talk. There's some great Chiefs talk. If you're a Raiders fan, Chiefs fan, we have a lot of Giants fans that call into the show, which is honestly fantastic. I'm a huge Giants fan. But all around the NFL, you want to talk college football, this is the avenue and the platform to do it. And just like that, our phone lines are rocking and rolling. So let's see what we got here. Welcome into Rover. Thank you for calling.
I got it. It's over. This is Ronaldo, Jets Central's #1 fan. Sam Darnold's #1 supporter.
Oh, Ronaldo, you're a classic guy on my channel. You're the biggest Jet Central fan right here. And thank you for calling in.
I have a few things to say. Number one, the fact that you guys are 1-4 and y'all still think y'all can make the playoffs makes me sick to my stomach. I mean, this division you're in, the NFC East, NFC least, as Stephen A. Smith would say, is trash. It's garbage. I've never seen the division more chaotic. I mean, the Cowboys are trash. The Redskins have Alex Smith. That's pathetic. The Eagles, I mean, Super Bowl hangover is real. And then you got the Giants, who Eli can't even have a 3-step drop back without getting sacked because he's slower than a turtle.
I'm not disagreeing, but hey, the 8-8 Seahawks with Marshawn Lynch were able to win. I mean, in the NFL, you get in the playoffs and magical things can happen, you know? So you just said that the Giants do have a chance to actually make the playoffs and throw records out the window, and the Giants have talent on this team, I think.
Yeah, you can make history, but that was 10 years ago. I mean, Eli cannot move.
I'm with you. I mean, he used to be able to be more mobile. He did have a better game yesterday, so we're going to see. He's been terrible this season now. I mean, nobody can disagree with that, but it was a different kind of Eli. So, Ronaldo, I wanted to ask you this question. What do you think about Sam Darnold? You're a big Jets guy. I haven't been on Sam Darnold's bandwagon. I mean, what do you think about your Jets as well?
Number one, I think that we're still young, but we're learning how to win games. We need to get on social media and stop acting like after 1 week, after we won the Detroit game, that we were like going to be Super Bowl champions. I mean, come on, relax. And I don't agree with the criticism of Stan. He's a rookie quarterback. All rookies struggle. Let's just keep it real. Eli struggled as a rookie. I don't even know if he started all the season, but he's progressed every week, I feel like. First pass was an interception. I mean, couldn't have started worse than that. But look what the company he was in. Brett Favre. I mean, come on. That just made me feel a little bit better about it. And this week, the game we had yesterday, completing deep passes down the field. I mean, how many weeks does it take for us to finally realize that guy can throw the ball? It's not just screens here and getting the ball intercepted. Like, I'm trying.
Yeah, so the thing that's amazing is that, Crowell in the Browns game ran it so well. If you guys have, like, one of the best rushing attacks in the NFL, the defense under Todd Bowles, like, you even talk to the guys that don't even like Todd Bowles, and I think that he's a very good defensive mind. A lot of Jets fans just want to see him even as a coordinator of this team. And for you guys, it's exactly right. It's not having that letdown. Like last year, the Tampa game was frustrating. The Broncos game on the road. It's all about going on the road and stacking these wins. Like you said, you have the Colts game that's very winnable. The Vikings game's going to be really tough. I mean, I look at you guys. I hope you guys can make a run in this AFC East. The way you played yesterday was outstanding. Is that more of a product of Denver just mentally being terrible? Because we know the Lions were mentally checked out. Or can you guys be a consistent team with Crowell? Can Crowell be special?
He can. He's had 2 great weeks. He's been on and off. We need more consistency from the running back position. But, I mean, it makes Sam's job so much easier when we have a running back that can take the pressure off him and then he can just start slinging the football. Stop being conservative. Let's not try to have him make too many mistakes. I want him throwing 30 interceptions. I want him throwing 40. I don't care. I really just want him slinging the football. I mean, Alex Smith is not going to win you championships. Eli Manning, a young Eli Manning, is going to win you championships. Brett Favre is going to win you championships. Aaron Rodgers is going to win you championships. That's what I'm trying to. And the New York media with Todd Bowles, I mean, they all want this guy fired. I mean, calm down, relax. We have a rookie quarterback. We really want him having another head coach, another OC. Like, people need to relax, calm down, take a breather, and see where we can go from here.
I get that. I completely agree with Jeremy Bates letting Sam just finally, take off the training wheels and let this guy freaking play. I totally agree. A lot of guys think that interceptions are the be-all, end-all stat. You could totally win with guys that throw interceptions. Peyton Manning is in the top 10 in interceptions. Brett Favre, of course. Joe Montana, I even think is. It's crazy. John Elway is. Look at the guys who throw the top 10 interceptions. It's because they take chances. And the thing with Sam, he was able to hit Robbie deep. Robbie looked incredible yesterday. These throws were open. But if Sam hits the deep ball, then I'm sold, because that's the question mark I have about him. The intermediate stuff, he is performing well. It's time for Sam to stack these weeks, like you said, and I really want to see aggressive play calling, like you talked about.
And let's not forget that you are a Sam Darnold hater. Your comment section, makes me sick. These Giants, I just try to support my guy, give him a thumbs up, and all these Giants fans, shut up! He's trying to Saquon's number 1. God damn! Leave the guy alone.
But I'll be honest. You can't just say every player is going to be good. I'll tell you why I don't like Darnold. I'll say it right here on the call, is because I don't think Sam has the arm strength. And I look at Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, I think, is a better leader. I think Baker's an exceptional leader. I look at Josh Allen. Sam Darnold's too quiet for me as a quarterback. Sam Darnold, can he step up in that leadership role, and can he communicate with guys like Jamal Adams? Like, does Sam have the heart? Is he going to be outspoken? And can he throw the ball deep? His arm talent, to me, has never been good. That's why I doubt Sam Darnold.
Well, look at Baker Mayfield. The guy's like 5'10". People are comparing him to Drew Brees. That's a joke. The dude just got the most yards in NFL history. Like, the Browns won 2 games, and this guy's in the Hall of Fame.
So how did you feel watching the Browns-Jets, though? Because you knew that narrative would be made.
Okay. Okay, I'll tell you. As soon as he stepped in the game and completed one pass, I knew the game was over. I felt it in my stomach. I was like, yep. Because we're young. I knew we weren't going to be focused. We weren't going to be ready for these deep passes. Tyrod was just like a game manager. Baker let it fly. And as soon as he started letting it fly down the field accurately, I was like, yep, too much pressure. It's going to be too much in to handle. Way too much. The Browns were trying to win. Yeah. They had the heart in it. They were ready to go. We just weren't ready for that. We weren't ready for Baker Mayfield to step into the game. We didn't have a game plan on him. We didn't have anything, as Jamal said. Like, it was tough. I knew it was going to be tough. It turned out disastrous.
I'm going to keep it real, man. You're one of the most fun guys in my comment section. You love to have fun with Giants fans. You're a big Jet Central guy. You believe in Sam. You believe in Todd Bowles. It's going to be so much fun to see how this pans out. Thanks so much for the call.
All right, man. Jet up. Let's go.
Great call there from Ronaldo, a classic guy on my YouTube page. He's even been in the comments tonight, and one of my favorite guys in the YouTube comment game on Rover Sports. We have a lot of interesting topics. We might even do a full podcast on the Oakland Raiders, Derek Carr, Case Keenum, Blake Bortles. It is interesting to me what quarterbacks in the NFL are going to be ousted. Which teams in the NFL should look for new quarterbacks and coaches? Bill O'Brien reports out of Houston are mixed. Some people think Bill O'Brien's a great guy, and some people think that Bill O'Brien is somewhat confrontational, somewhat of a hot-tempered coach, and he somehow doesn't win the locker room. I mean, watching Garrett and Bill O'Brien yesterday, that game was between two coaches that I think might get fired this year. I mean, Jason Garrett not going for it on 4th and 1, even though I really can't stand the Cowboys as a Giants fan, I feel bad that your coach is spineless. He has no balls at all. It's like he played completely to lose the game. I mean, it's 4th and 1 on the 42-yard line. You're driving it overtime. That's like instant death. Like, that's like giving the ball back to Deshaun Watson. That mood, you know what that move was? I'll say it. It's like a castrated cat kind of move. I mean, that move. You know what that move? You know what that move? That move was just. It was wussy. It's whatever expletive you want to put on that move. He was horrendous in that game. You have Zeke. You have Dak Prescott. The one good thing that Dak does is his mobility. And you are punting on 4th and 1 on the opponent's 42 in an NFL. And you're never going to win with that attitude in life and in coaching football. So, yes.
The question is Jason Garrett Jerry Jones' puppet? And will he ever let it go? Because Jerry Jones wants full control over the coach. And so I don't know what Garrett has to do to get fired.
You're absolutely right, and I might actually just go a couple of more minutes just talking about the NFL.
Can people call a number? Can they see that?
Yeah, they can see the call number, but I believe Garrett is going to get fired this year. You know, he is Jason Garrett's puppet. I think that's completely accurate. Or he is Jerry Jones's puppet. But the Dallas Cowboy fans are going to revolt, and eventually you got to make tough decisions. At Oklahoma, their defensive coordinator, Bob Stoops, was fired. Or not Bob Stoops, it was Mike Stoops. There's Mike, Mark, Bob. It's confusing. Yeah. But no, he is going to get fired. But he stayed there even longer because he is Jerry Jones's. He does whatever Jerry wants. But Jerry shouldn't hire guys that Yeah, like, here's the thing. Like, Jerry doesn't even know about the offensive game plan. He could still be a GM. And I know it's a tough job because Jerry's over your shoulder, but you're still going to get paid a ton of money. You still work with Steven. You work with Jerry. And I think that that's still an attractive job. I mean, it's still the biggest football market in the NFL. And, I'm excited to see what Dallas does with the next hire. I'm sure their fans can't wait. I think it's long overdue that this guy's gone. Ever since, that playoff loss to the Packers, this team hasn't been good. It's been up and down. There's no sustainability. The defense is hurt. It's never been truly elite. Finally, the defense is coming alive, and the offense is just not very good. And I just don't think Dak is ever going to win playoff games. I don't think Dak is ever going to be elite. Somebody asks a question for the Giants. Is it Drew Lock, Justin Herbert, or who would you draft in the upcoming draft? I would probably take Justin Herbert number one because Drew Lock has big bust potential. The guy can't play versus big-time opponents. His personality is a great personality, but for New York City, I mean, he is kind of a rah-rah guy, but at times he shrinks versus big-time opponents. He doesn't make big-time throws. Justin Herbert reminds me of like he reminds me of Eli's personality in that he's very unassuming, very down-to-earth, is very competitive, quiet, smart. Herbert has a great, great personality. Drew Lock's personality is fantastic as well. Now, on the field, Justin Herbert has a quicker release. He's more athletic. In this NFL, with Pat Shurmur, Herbert is going to definitely be a real big-time quarterback. I don't think there's a lot of bust potential there. And then once you get past Lock and Herbert, you have Will Grier, who, again, his deep ball accuracy concerns me. But I have
a question.
Yes.
Is Tua coming out, or does he have to stay?
Tua's coming out in a year.
No, because I think Tua is the star, and I don't know how the Giants, could position themselves to lose next year, I guess, to get Tua. But I think Tua is just a fantastic star. He's got an arm like a rocket, and I think he'll do great wherever
he's going to be. Steve Young. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. In fact, if you had one pick of any quarterback like in the NFL right now or for the next 15 years, like where would you rank Tua in terms of guys that you'd want to build your franchise around?
Well, he reminds me a little bit of Russell Wilson in the sense that he is 6 foot tall. He is like a left-handed Drew Brees. And, I believe that he's got, he's very smart, quick. He's got all the tools, but size. And I think that he will be a great NFL quarterback.
If the Giants make the playoffs this year, then you can have Eli for next season maybe, and then Eli would be a good mentor to Tua. But Tua, if you had Tua, your franchise is going to be set for forever. I mean, he's my favorite. Injury. He is my favorite player in all of football, in all sports. He's my favorite athlete in all sports.
Well, when he came into the championship game, they were down. They had nothing going. They had no offense. He came in, one of the most inspiring performances I've ever seen in college football, and he's scoring they're scoring 60 points a game, and Nick Saban is complaining, and that just tells you how good Tua is. You don't hear him say a word about Tua. He's blaming the defense for letting up 30 points. You know what? Tua is the man, and I can't see anybody beating Alabama.
He's like Kevin Durant on the Golden State Warriors. Like, he's like a cheat code for that team. Tua this year, he hasn't even played in the fourth quarter this year. That's how amazing Tua is because, I mean, in his last 2 games, he's gone 17 of 18 for like 6 touchdowns. He has 0 interceptions. His completion percentage is 75%. Even Cam Newton, even Tebow, even the most elite quarterbacks at the collegiate level, Matt Leinart, Vince Young, the best players in college football, you could make an argument that this is one of the greatest seasons in college football history. And this Alabama team with Ruggs, with Smith, there's so many, Jerry Jeudy. This is one of the greatest teams maybe ever because their defense is not great. It's not great by Alabama standards. But with Tua in this offense, I mean, nobody, I think, can beat them.
Just a question. Looking at the schedule, I'm sure they have to play LSU this year.
Yeah.
Who could possibly...
They go to LSU.
They don't play Georgia, right? That's a different division.
That would be in the SEC championship.
Okay, so other than LSU, who do you see even having a chance to beat Alabama?
I think LSU is definitely the best chance. Auburn has really just faded out.
Pretty average team this year.
Auburn, with Jarrett Stidham and Gus Malzahn, it's amazing how Gus Malzahn is one of the highest paid coaches in football because he needs a running quarterback to run his offense. Their offensive line this year is one of the worst offensive lines that college has ever had. To tell you the truth, if I were to go, if I were Alabama, the team I would not want to see in the championship is maybe two teams. I'm going to go.
Georgia, of course.
I'm not as high on Georgia as everybody's thinking. I think Oklahoma's the second best team in college football. Even though they just lost to Texas, Kyler Murray, to me, is an all-time great quarterback in college football.
I think
Kyler Murray's special.
They're talking about him going to professional basebal. That guy looks like
Lincoln Riley's special. Kyler Murray, he can score and compete. I think Michigan. I think Ohio State's very overrated. Everybody has Ohio State in the playoff. I think Michigan's defense can win the Big Ten, so I think Michigan's going to be there. But
you see Notre Dame in their Final Four.
Notre Dame's a good point as well. Very good defense, very very good defense, and we'll see. Somebody's trying to call in. I'm trying to
pick him up. Hit the green.
Sure.
Here we go.
Hey, how's it going? Welcome in the Rover.
Hey, I appreciate you guys taking my call. I like your videos. I've seen some of your videos. I see you're big on Jon Gruden, and they're going up against the Seahawks in London next week. I just want your opinions on that game. Who you think's going to win? The game's in London. The Seahawks are favored by 2.5.
It's great. Are you a Raiders fan, sir?
No, I'm a Steelers fan, but I know you're big on Gruden. And another question I was going to get into is,
I appreciate it.
How much of a leash do you think Gruden has? Because their pass rush is really bad. And I don't know if they're going to be able to get after Russell Wilson. He's a mobile quarterback. They're starting to get it together offensively. It's going to be a really good game in London.
Yeah, I completely agree. Even the biggest Gruden defenders. Yesterday, in all their games thus far this year, the Dolphins game, the Raiders showed signs of life. And yesterday was a complete it was one of the worst performances that you could ever imagine. The LA Chargers are becoming a better football team, but I do really like Seattle and London. Now Seattle, they do have their flaws as well. It was very emotional loss, and you saw Denver have an emotional loss, and the Denver Broncos caved. But and maybe I'll throw this back to you. Do you think that Earl Thomas and the negative
That's a big injury.
Do you think that the Seattle Seahawks, without having Earl Thomas complaining, and rightfully so, about the contract, do you think it's actually freeing up the Seahawks to play more free? What do you think about the Seattle Seahawks and Carroll's chemistry with the team?
I think he might definitely could possibly on a hot seat, maybe not this season, but next season. They got to get a win. I think they got to get a win against Oakland. Oakland only has one game. Oakland doesn't have a pass rush. So that's just a really good game. It's in London. I know you're a big Gruden fan.
Yeah.
So
I didn't analyze.
We're talking about coaches on the hot seat. These are both.
Yeah, I didn't analyze your question though, and I'm going to tell you this right now. Jon Gruden has one of the biggest leashes in the NFL. He can go 2-14, and with Jon, the last performance was terrible. And the thing I worry about a lot is Jon Gruden is stubborn about Derek Carr. But the thing is that I'm going to say to you is that Jon Gruden has a 10-year, $100 million contract, and Mark Davis as an owner. Have you seen the guy's haircut? They're moving to Vegas. Do you really think Mark Davis would ever fire Jon Gruden? The answer is probably no, and I think he has at least 4 years of Gruden in Raiderland.
That's a good take. I just know you're a big fan, and it's definitely a more than disappointing season, I'd say, right now for the Raiders. Especially they spend the most money on offense than any other team in the NFL. So you feel they have to get more wins than they have this year. I mean, in the Khalil Mack trade, I know you're in favor of that, but right now I think they're 31st in the league in pass rush, so I just don't know where they're going to go. Really, they have a lot of people are old, like Nelson. Really, he's old crap. Or who's the receiver?
Cooper.
Cooper. Yeah, he's getting pretty old. He's up there.
He's inconsistent, man. Yeah, he's definitely inconsistent. Go ahead, Bruce.
Yeah, my opinion is that this is the lack of the week. When you go to London, you don't see close games. They're all blowouts. And this team, Oakland Raiders, you fly across there. Derek Carr, I'm not a believer in him. It's kind of an away game. Seattle is going to win this game handily, and it's going to be a boring game. It's going to be over by halftime. And this Oakland Raiders team is rebuilding. John Gruden has to put his players in. It's not going to happen immediately. So I just think it's a good bet. I also like Gruden. He's fun. In Las Vegas, it'll be good. And we want to see Oakland do well. But after last week, I think they're in a fold mode right now.
Well, I appreciate you guys taking my call.
Yeah. Wait,
and, I could ask you one more question about the Steelers, because the Steelers are my team.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Steelers? It's a big game. This probably might be one. I don't know if it's the biggest game of the week, but definitely in my neck of the woods, it's probably one of the biggest games of the week. The Steelers versus the Bengals. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the Bengals to me are a pretender at 3-1, like at 4-1. I mean, the freaking Dolphins were up 17 on those guys last week. My real concern is that I don't know if I'm going to go ahead and say actually that the Bengals are terrible. I think the Bengals are a decent team. They are going to pick up momentum. They have a better defense than the Pittsburgh Steelers. My main concern this week is actually the Steelers' offense. I could see the Bengals getting sacks on Big Ben. I could see the Bengals hitting him a lot. And the Bengals, I mean, they are playing with a ton. They have a ton of momentum right now. I don't think Dalton is good at all. I would be surprised if the Steelers went in and won this game. I'd be pretty stunned. I mean, how many points do you think the Steelers are going to score in Cincinnati?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for the Steelers. Ben is, I think, leading the league in pass yards. Connor has been very inconsistent, so they're going to have to establish a balance. They've basically been abandoning the run. Maybe not last game against the Falcons. We pretty much dominated on the ground, but the 3 games before that, we were totally inconsistent on the ground. Pretty much only ran the ball 9-10 times a game. That's not going to get it done. I know everybody says this is a passing league, but I feel most teams in the playoffs, especially in January, if you want to win, you got to run the ball. So we got to establish some kind of run game. And so I don't know if we're going to be able to be consistent on the ground to score a lot of points, but Ben has been playing good this year. He turns the ball over a lot, but it's going to be tough. One big injury for the Bengals is Tyler Eifert. So, like you said, Andy Dalton, he's been playing good this year, but he's been kind of like a pretender. He hasn't really lived up to that level. A lot of people in Bengals Nation want to get rid of him. So I don't know if he's going to win that big moment. I really don't, because he collapses, and Ben has an amazing record in Ohio. He has it's amazing, unbelievable.
Absolutely, and I wanted to thank you so much for tuning in the Rover. I hope you call in again, and great luck to your Steelers, man. I really appreciated the call in, and I'm also going to address your Gruden point right after this, right after the call. So tune in. Thank you again.
All right, man. Thanks.
Okay, I'm going to make a comment. I really think the Bengals are a pretender. I agree with you. Not to use the same exact word, but it's not a really great home crowd. The jungle used to be the jungle 15 years ago. And I don't believe in Andy Dalton. This team never has momentum. It's an ebb and flow league. So I think you could bet on the Steelers in this game.
We are getting a call. This might be one of our last callers of the night. It's been a great time with you guys. Darn it. Can you please call in again? I'll make sure to pick up the call if you call in one more time. I'm going to do about one more call. I also want to probably address the John Gruden. There's a lot of people that tune in They know I'm a John Gruden fan. I love his personality. Yesterday was a horrible, horrible game. I'm going to have to rewatch it. There's no downfield throwing of the ball. I don't like Derek Carr. I'll tell you that right now. And in my video, I might address how Derek Carr, if he doesn't show any signs, the Raiders should probably look to move on from Carr and even use him as leverage and get another first-round pick. Their defense. You look at the Raiders. They need a Josh Allen. The Raiders need like a guy from Kentucky. I think Devin White actually would be great. You need a great, great personality. You need a great, great personality to be able to galvanize that team. You need a defensive presence. You need guys that are on board. And it's going to take a long time, but John, luckily, is not going to get fired. And the thing about John is that even though he's an old-school coach, he still is new school in technology. He still can analyze what the rest of the NFL is doing, and he truly cares. And I believe that he can be successful. I don't think this Raiders roster is very good. Give John a couple of years for sure. Give him 3, 4, 5 years. And I also want to see what he does at the quarterback position. But Paul Gunfer in the defense, I think, is going to get a lot better. And it's not like Khalil Mack would have made this Raiders team into an incredible team. They've had Khalil Mack for a while, and they still haven't won any playoff games, and they really still haven't had any success. And I think that a lot of it is due to Derek Carr being afraid of injury. But, John Gruden's going to luckily be there a very, very long time. Jet Central said that as well, Hitman, about the Giants trading for David Carr. Or Derek Carr. It's not going to happen, luckily. But John Gruden, I absolutely still have faith in John Gruden. I'm not going to lose hope. I mean, you look at the rest of the NFL, who is really an elite level, coach. You maybe have Kyle, Sean McVay, Doug Peterson has won a Super Bowl. Matt Patricia's turning out to be a very good coach, but is Mike McCarthy going to be around a lot longer? And with Aaron Rodgers getting all that money, I mean, you just look at the Packers, and they are a really interesting product. I am going to go ahead right now, and I want to thank everybody for joining the show tonight. We had tremendous callers, and the show seemed to work. I hope the audio was not horrible. And I like doing these podcasts. It's a lot easier for me because you could get out your thoughts in an hour. Now, when you title a video like Oakland Raiders, and then you cut that video, then you do Tennessee Titans, it is a little bit harder to make videos kind of like that. But at the same time, I do have opinions on a lot of these teams, and the Oakland Raiders just flat out quit yesterday. And we'll see how they respond. And the thing is about Gruden is that it is his first year. And the thing about Chucky and this team is that even if they're out of playoff contention, they still can really develop young guys. It's not like the Giants where, they're kind of all-in spot. It's not like New Orleans where it's an all-in team. It's not like Minnesota that is all-in. The Raiders are a team that is like developing guys, almost like a college football team. The Raiders are almost like Nebraska football right now. That's how I look at teams like Oakland. So I still do have faith in John Gruden, but how stubborn will he be on Derek Carr? That remains to be seen. Anyway, guys, I'm going to sign off. It's been a fun little show here. Thank you guys for watching. The comment section has been great, and appreciate you guys stopping into the show. Have a wonderful night.